Oh, hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Wednesday. We are so excited for you to be joining us here right now. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you for the next couple hours, breaking down everything that you need to know heading into week 4 already, Adam. I think that's absolutely crazy. But we've got, hopefully, all your waiver wire dreams coming true last night. You got everyone that you could. And we've got some games we'll start breaking down. We've got a new QB1 for the New York Giants. How you doing? How's it going?
Yeah, doing well. Obviously, season is moving rapidly. Hard to believe that we're already
Of
in week
course.
4.
We do this every year.
Yeah, that's true. It flies by.
We say, wow, this is going by really fast. And I'm sure there were no other seasons like this one with injuries. I feel like we've already been saying that. But every single year, it feels like it tends to surprise us. Like, no, here's some more injuries. It's fine.
Yeah, it makes it challenging, obviously, and we're always looking to put together a roster, and then injuries occur, bye week start, and you will have some uncomfortable lineups over the next few weeks. But it's all about just trying to get some wins in the process.
By the way, you know what my mom texted me last night when I texted her past 8:30 p.m.?
She
She said, "You're
said,
still up?" I said, "Stop, Mom. We can't do this.
"Look at that."
I can't have my own family members doing this. We have to draw a line somewhere." We were talking
No,
about the Mariners. First of all, go Mariners, Adam. Can I get a go Mariners?
go
Come
Mariners.
on.
Yeah, looking good.
Yes. Looking good. If I'm not here next week, you'll know. For one day, just one day, I have to go.
Okay.
You have to go. And maybe, yeah, maybe. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, you can't be doing this with my own family members. My mom texting me that I'm still awake. Whatever. We
The
are
word is out.
the word is out. It's horrible. I can't tweet past 8:30. Can't text my mom past 8:30. It's fine. Everything's going to go great. But we do have an awesome show planned for everyone here. Like I said, Matthew Berry is going to be calling us in. We're going to be talking to him about week 4. Going to go through, obviously some risers, some fallers, and everything in between. So I think the first thing that we have to get to, though, is the news that we got yesterday here, Adam, which is that the Giants turning to Jaxson Dart, benching Russell Wilson, not going in the middle. We kind of talked about that. Maybe they would go with Jameis Winston for a few games before throwing Jaxson Dart out there, but they are going straight to the rookie. And his first start is coming at home this Sunday against the undefeated Los Angeles Chargers. And I think this was probably the best place to put him if they were going to say, okay, we're going to give him the start, because these next 2 games aren't as daunting as the rest of their schedule, because they take on the Chargers and then they take on the New Orleans Saints. And we saw what happened to them last weekend against the Seahawks. Not to say that the Giants are going to do that, but it's at least a good place for him to be. I mean, Russell Wilson did struggle. He didn't struggle against the Dallas Cowboys, because it feels like no one's going to struggle against the Dallas Cowboys. But then, yeah, that Sunday night game against Kansas City, 22-9 loss, threw for 160 yards, had a pair of interceptions, and it was just kind of ugly. So now they're turning to Dart. What are your expectations for him?
Yeah, we knew this was going to happen. It was a question of one. When you look at the Giants' schedule, it was a difficult one. So there was really no perfect opportunity to put him in. But Russell Wilson's performance on Sunday night was horrendous. And he's just not throwing a lot of catchable passes right now. And when Malik Neighbors has a game as bad as he did, you know it's bad. Because last year, his worst game in PPR was 8 points. And he had the absolute lowest floor game. I think it was 3.3 this past week. So you knew that people wanted change, and Dart showed some excitement for Giants fans in the preseason. And at this point at 0-3, obviously we know the Giants are going nowhere. So it's not the ideal matchup with the Chargers for the first game for Dart, but they are traveling from the West Coast. They're coming off some pretty high games. Maybe you get a letdown game. Maybe Dart provides some excitement. We know he can run. So I think in Superflex leagues, he's already been rostered. I know in the 2 that I play in, he's been long gone. He was drafted. And in those with one quarterback, I mean, you could take a shot. I put in a bid for him in a league, didn't get him. It wasn't a high bid. So you will see people bidding on him, and maybe very aggressive if you have a quarterback issue. But we know he can run. There are some weapons there, but you just have to look at the schedule with the Chargers this week.
Yeah, it's
Then the Saints, but it is on the road. Then the Eagles in Denver. The Eagles again.
Ugh.
So it could be a bumpy stretch, but we've seen some of these young quarterbacks come in, spark an offense, and again, he can run a little bit. So we're not going overboard here and say, oh, you got to get this guy. But if you are struggling at that backup quarterback, maybe you put in a bid for him, pick him up, and see how it goes.
Yeah, and bye weeks are coming up as well. So maybe if
Yeah.
you're preparing for those and you need some streamers and you maybe got, we'll see how Jake Browning does, but maybe he is not living up to expectations after another week. We have to pay attention to that. But yeah, I think Jaxson Dart, listen, we knew sooner rather than later that they were going to make this move. I do think this is a little bit earlier than I thought they would, but I mean, Russ did look, he looked pretty bad. So I think they need to try any kind of spark that they can. But I will say, we've got our fantasy life projections over at fantasylife.com, and Matthew Friedman did a great write up on Jaxson Dart starting for week 4. So he's projecting 201 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but then the rushing yards, 25.6 rushing yards on the day as well. So I think for everyone else, when we talk about Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson, I think they stay the same to me. I think that's kind of muted there. Like Malik Neighbors still a mid-tier wide receiver 1. Wan'Dale Robinson maybe a wide receiver 3 on the lower end of that. And then I think Cam Skattebo will still I think he'll be involved. Like, I think the expectations for this offense, obviously we have to pull him back just a little bit. But I think maybe they will want to funnel the attack through the backfield. And we've seen Cam Skattebo get some of those. We know he's a pass catching running back, and that's why we really liked him coming out of the draft. But I think, he's going to stand firm, especially with Tyrone Tracy out. He's still going to be a really good play this weekend.
Oh yeah, you're definitely, if you have him, you're getting him in your lineup. There's no question about it. We saw a massive workload last week, and I would expect that to continue for sure. And you just want to see those passes, those receptions once again. But yeah, I think if you have him, Skattebo, he's pretty much in your lineup. I know we'll probably get some 10-team league questions where they have really good running backs, and Skattebo is the 4th, and you can't get him in. But for most leagues, I think you're getting him in your lineup this week.
And we'll be jealous, and we'll say, "Really? Come on, we want to be in one of these." I think we go into an ESPN league next year. Come on, that would be so fun. The ADPs will throw us way off.
It really will, for sure. Remember McMillan was like in the 80s?
Yeah, it was crazy.
McMillan, like in the 80s.
And then Travis Kelce, I remember doing the write-up. He was in the 60s. Or
Yeah,
maybe
we
even,
want to know
maybe
part
even
of that.
earlier than that. Maybe the 50s. I said, yeah, Travis Kelce.
Yeah, closer to his age.
Stop. Get out of here.
What?
You're going to do this already? Come on, friend of the show. Just kidding. No, I was going to make a joke, but I'm not going to.
See,
all right.
won't. You just let me do it.
You will. No, I know. You will. The people know that you'll make the jokes for sure. So again, get out of here. Jaxson Dart is getting the start for the Giants. Okay, out of the next 2 games, do they win? They win 1 or no?
Yeah, they probably win against the Saints.
All right. There you go. They need a spark there. The fan
Actually,
base
I don't
is
know.
angry.
They might lose against
Really?
Saints. Let's see. Let's see what happens this week.
Okay. I hope they win against the Saints, because if they lose this one and that one, it's tough. It's tough going forward. You said it. They play the Eagles twice in 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's not we knew it going into the year that they had a difficult schedule.
I know, but I didn't think it was going to be that bad. All right, next up here, I just wanted to, again, we're getting ready for week 4. We are fully, breaking down some of these games are going to start. We've got our rankings live and updated at fantasylife.com. Just wanted to say again, I saw this quote and I just wanted to bring it up to you because I really wanted to tie it back into waiver wire conversations with CeeDee Lamb out for multiple weeks now, who we think is going to step up. We talked about Turpin yesterday, talked about Tolbert, but Micah Parsons says it's going to be painful to sack Dak Prescott in this weekend's game. I agree with it. I think it's going to be weird. It's probably going to be weird for you as a Cowboys fan. But again, with CeeDee Lamb out, I put bids on both of those guys. I tried to get one, if not the other. So put in multiple bids. If I didn't get Tolbert, then I went for the other guy and ended up getting them in a few of my leagues. So I was kind of happy with it. But Dallas, I don't know. It's just kind of a red flag right now. Don't you think, Adam? They look just a little bit broken. And especially when we're talking about quarterback play, obviously Hugh's going to be way down our rankings. This is going to be a tough matchup. Any team right now that is going up against the Green Bay Packers defense, we say, okay, you have to be a little bit careful. So I know I ranked him high last weekend in my quarterback rankings, and it's just not going to be that way this week because that is a tough matchup.
Yeah, and with no CeeDee Lamb, that's the go-to guy. That's the guy they count on in the big spot, and taking him out is a problem. We know George Pickens will fill in, but we also know that there's more mistakes with Pickens. He had that ball go off his hands, resulting in an interception. He'll get the top cover corners now. We know Jake Ferguson is obviously going to benefit, and the last time I think Ferguson scored a touchdown was his big game against Green Bay. He just doesn't score touchdowns. He didn't score last year as good as the start is this year. He hasn't scored yet. Maybe he finds the end zone this week, but yeah, it's not great for Dak Prescott this week. Definitely lower than usual.
Yeah.
I did have someone ask me a question that they didn't feel good about starting Dak this week, but they gave me the options for like CJ Stroud, Penix, and guys like that. And at that point, it's
Yeah.
like, come on, I get it. You don't feel good about Dak this week. None of us do, but I can't go that low.
No, I'm gonna have him probably at QB 16 though. 16 is where it feels
Look, here's the
right.
thing when it comes to Dak and Dallas right now, the defense is so bad, so they're going to fall behind. You just have to hope that they put up enough passes and yards and maybe find the end zone late. Now, it didn't happen last week. They didn't score in the second half. That could have been a product, too, of just remember, they come in with a game plan for CeeDee Lamb, and he leaves during the game, and that kind of throws things off. So, obviously, they'll have the whole week to game plan without CeeDee Lamb. Not that it matters much against this Green Bay team, but that's what you have to hope for at this point is that they give up a lot of points and that they're playing from behind and there's enough volume there to lead to fantasy points. But this could be a rough one here because,
Yeah.
again, this is at home and all they're going to talk about is Micah
Yep.
Parsons, the whole entire broadcast. Like,
Should we
it's
put an
just, it's
over
going to be a
under?
love fest.
Yeah. Over under of how many times they talk about him. More than they would Taylor Swift? I think yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, of course. Yeah, Dallas, I mean, it's just disappointing. And again, we probably always play quarterbacks against this team and this defense because we say, hey, we're just going to pick on them the rest of the way. But for Dak, I feel like it's a different conversation and you have to look at your other options. Of course, if you have Penix or CJ Stroud, like you said, you still have to turn to Dak. It's going to be ugly. But Michael, we're going to talk about Michael Penix. He just does not look good. CJ Stroud also does not look good, but the Texans going up against the Tennessee Titans this weekend, and then Penix gets the Washington Commanders. But I think there are borderline. I think there are borderline starts like Geno Smith and the Raiders are going up against the Bears this weekend. You've got Jared. I'm going to have Jared Goff, of course, ranked higher. Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, even going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to have ranked higher, but yeah, for Dak, I mean, he's only averaging 6.4 yards per attempt this season.
Yeah, they
It's
haven't
just
tried
not
anything
good.
deep. It's a lot
No.
of short. I mean, that's why Ferguson is piling up the yards
Hmm.
because everything is short to him. I mean, it's 4 or 5 yard passes, and we know Ferguson doesn't do much after the catch. It's maybe a few yards. So, yeah, that's what it's been, and it's kind of frustrating to watch at this point. And it's not what we expected. And a lot of people were saying this would be an explosive offense that would need to put up a lot of points because the defense is bad. The defense has been bad, but they have not been able to cooperate on the offensive side, just not putting up enough points. So it's tough because it did look like going into the year that Dak would be really good for fantasy, and it is not happening right now.
Not yet, right? It will happen. I need it. I really,
Let's hope
really need it.
so. Yeah,
I
I have
really need
Dak
it
in
to
a few
happen.
leagues, and it's not been fun.
No, it's disappointing. It's just been up and down so far.
It's been
You
one good game.
consistent.
It's the
Yeah.
Giants game where you had the shootout. That's the type of game you expected them to play most of the year, and it has not happened so far.
No.
Even last week, that was the anticipation. I mean, that game
Hmm.
was a total of around 50.5 points, and it went under. I told you it went under
Of
well
course. I know. You did you did say that.
because
You tell us the truth.
everyone
I
was
know.
on it.
I know.
I
I
mean,
know.
everyone was on Lions Ravens, and that lived up to the bill. But that's two really good teams.
Exactly.
Dallas is not a good team.
I'm gonna have Turpin probably somewhere around wide receiver. I mean, 65 and 66. I'll probably honestly have them back to back, Turpin and Tolbert. Like I said, I tried to get both of those guys. If you're in a pinch, if you've come down with some of these receiver injuries, like I have, if you're waiting on Rashi Rice to come back and you just need someone to fill in, again, I don't think it's gonna be pretty. But I think you said that you like. Well, if they start to unlock Turpin downfield, you kind of liked him more
Well,
than a little
he's
bit more than Tolbert.
Yeah, I mean, he's the more explosive
Yeah.
player. He's more dynamic. You'll probably see Tolbert play more snaps, but he's the more of a floor guy. Like he doesn't have the huge ceiling. We've seen Turpin, obviously on the kick returns. I mean, he's explosive,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping that they find a way to get the ball in his hands more. I mean, that's been a problem. Like they haven't had that speed in this offense. Pickens was the guy that's supposed to add to it. Again, for him, it's been an up and down start as well. I mean, he did have a solid game this week and a good game week 2. So, but now they're counting on him even more, which you felt much better about him with Lamb. Now, that
Yeah.
sounds crazy, but because now he should get more targets, but now he's got to eliminate those mistakes. And again, he's going to get better better corners against them now.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, rankings are live at fantasylife.com. I'm going to have some sick starts this weekend. Sick in a bad way, Adam. It's just going to be absolutely gross, going to be uncomfortable just because of these injuries. I don't even want to look yet. I'm not even there. Maybe I'll look tomorrow morning, but it's just oh, some of these are going to be not fun. I think for some people, maybe you're a little bit more excited. Vikings added Jordan Addison. Last one here at the top of the hour. Vikings added Jordan Addison to that 53-man roster. He served that 3-game suspension that wrapped up with their win over the Bengals, and now he is on the active roster since yesterday, since Tuesday. So again, this is one where Carson Wentz, this game this weekend too. I've seen a couple people comment this on some of my videos, but just remember this game this weekend is the international series. That's the start of this weekend. Sometimes those get a little weird. I
Yeah.
know that you'll see the home field and you'll think, okay, home field advantage or whatever, but these games do, especially for the first week, they get a little weird. And so I just want to mention that Carson Wentz looks like, I mean, he seems like he's going to get this start again. And unlike when we talked about Mariota last weekend, Wentz could have this job for a longer period of time than some of the, Marcus Mariota's, Tyrod Taylor's. So in week 3, he was 5th in percentage of pass attempts, 15 plus yards downfield, and passer rating. So it really wasn't bad. We talked about how good that defense was and how he really just had to manage, right? He just had to be a game manager and he was able to do that. But what are your expectations? Like, it feels kind of like a little bit of a letdown because maybe you were expecting better quarterback play, but Carson Wentz could be a good guy to have with Jordan Addison back, as opposed to having JJ McCarthy and what he looked like for, the first couple games of the season.
Yeah, I think if you have any skill position players on Minnesota, you feel okay right now with Wentz at quarterback. Again, McCarthy really had one good quarter in the 8 that we saw him. And it's tough to take much away from last week because they were just ahead really
Yeah.
quickly in that game and everything went well. The Steelers defense is just not what we thought going into the year. I mean, they have allowed the 4th most points per game to the position at cornerback.
Wow.
So, I mean, Sam Darnold had 295 and 2 touchdowns against them. Justin Fields looked great against them, and then awful the following week against Buffalo. And Drake May had a good game as well.
Hmm.
They actually should have lost that game. I mean, they turned the ball over. They got 5 turnovers. I mean, if you look at every stat in that game and you just showed it, you'd say, how the hell did New England lose this game? And it's because they
Yep.
turned it over. So Steelers are really not that good right now. So Wentz could put up decent numbers. Not saying you're starting him, but
I
because
think
we
he's
know
in
that
streamer territory. If you're really in a pinch,
I
you don't
guess
think so?
depends who you're
Okay.
comparing him to. But yeah, I mean, again, the matchup is not as bad as we thought, but the game total is very low. And that's probably because of it being overseas. We've seen some of those games be really ugly, slow
Yeah.
starts. The total's 40.5. So something
Mm.
to keep an eye on in this one.
Carson Wentz or Jake Browning, though, in week 4, because Jake Browning taking on the Denver Broncos, another angry Denver Broncos team. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you have to go with Wentz at this
I do
point.
too. And that's disappointing, but talk about a tough schedule that doesn't really get easier throughout the weeks for the bet. And that was the biggest concern, right? We saw him in 2023. We said he had a good PFF passer rating, all that stuff. But it just wasn't good. So
Yeah, the
kind of have to
offensive
downgrade
line is
him.
giving Chase
Oh my
Brown no room
God.
to run. I mean, you look at some
I
of those
know. We
numbers, it's
talked about that.
disgusting.
It's really bad. He's been disappointing so far this season. Hopefully it can get a little bit better. We talked about that with Dwayne too. I mean, it's not like he's not getting the opportunities. That's the one thing. I mean, he's dominated 67% snap share, 79% of the attempts, 12% target share. It's just you're just not getting fantasy points, and that's kind of what we need, Adam, to win these matchups is fantasy points. So we can tell a story all day about how hopefully it gets better, but yeah, with Chase Brown in this whole offense, you have to downgrade him, especially going into this weekend. So we'll keep talking through maybe some streamable quarterbacks, all of our rankings again live at fantasylife.com. While you're there, use that code SXM20. SXM20 gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 Fantasy Life Plus subscription. We're going to go forward with backfield takeovers. What our expectations are for some of these guys. It might be time. Travion Henderson. We're talking Omarion, Hampton, Jordan Mason. We've got those guys coming up next. All right, we're breaking down these backfield takeovers. Hopefully, we get all the fantasy points from some of these running backs going into week 4. This is presented by Premier National Sports. Just like these running backs we're about to talk about, guys, and taking over their backfields. If you or someone you know is navigating the world of becoming a college athlete, Premier National Sports can help them take over and dominate that process from beginning to end. So I think one that we don't have to spend too much time on, Adam, but I think the two that are very obvious is, and we've talked about them before, but it is Omarion and Hampton going into this weekend because, again, Najee Harris injury, it is so disappointing and just sad for someone that we talked about how durable he is every single season. You would get, the 1,000 yards and everything else. You watch that game and you knew almost immediately that he was probably not going to be back for the 2025 season. So when you look at this, I mean, Omarion Hampton is now to me a high end RB2. If you have him, you're probably playing him in every single situation. And again, we hate injuries, but when it comes, it becomes next man up mentality. And so for Omarion Hampton, he is going to get all of that work. He already has a 96 utilization score, had the second most fantasy points in week 3, that 24.9. But this is a pass first offense. I will say that. So that's the one part with the Los Angeles Chargers that we've just seen when we've been talking about it since their bye week last season. They are just pass heavy, and Justin Herbert's looking really good while doing it. But still, you really like, the rest of the way for Omarion Hampton here in this backfield.
Yeah, and you caught a break. We have to be
Yeah.
honest here. Those with Hampton caught a huge break because it was starting to look like more of a split with Najee Harris. And because if we had discussed this discussion a week ago, you'd be
Yep.
like, oh man, I don't know. Hampton got such a huge workload in week 1, wasn't looking great. Harris comes in, and you would figure they just slowly build him up, and it could have been an ugly split. But now it's all Hampton's backfield, and he's going to get massive volume. Has a good matchup this week. The Giants have allowed the 4th most fantasy points to the running back position. They've allowed
Nice.
4 rushing touchdowns in 3 games. They've allowed receptions out of the backfield as well, and yeah, that's the one thing. Yes, it is become more of a passing offense. I mean, last week was kind of the game script where they were playing from behind a little bit, 47 pass attempts, but they still ran the ball. Again, they ran 80 plays, so that's something to keep in mind. But it looks like they are going to be one of those teams that runs a lot of plays this year, and
Hmm.
Hampton could obviously now catch passes out of the backfield, get massive volume. They're road favorites as well, so he's in line for a big workload. And yeah, you're feeling good for the rest of the season. Where again, we have the discussion last week. You're like, yeah, I don't know. What do I
Yep.
do here? But sometimes things break right, and they have for Omarion Hampton right now.
Yeah, and I think they could add a veteran running back. I put that in my article for the waiver wire. You don't need to be making this move, but couldn't you just see a Gus Edwards come in? He knows the offense already, and they say, you know what, we just need someone that's a vet that already knows this. But Hassan Haskins is back there. He's probably going to serve as the number 2. I didn't recommend him, Adam, but I mean, if you're in those deeper formats, and again, something bad happens, we never wanted to, but you'd have to look at Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal, and I think Vidal takes on a little bit of some of the pass down work, but that's how I see it. And then we'll see if maybe someone like Gus Edwards, again, he's a free agent, so yeah, there's no reason to make a move yet for him, but I really could see them adding someone like that. But to me, yeah, Hampton RB2 has the potential to be mid-range RB1 the rest of the way. And like you said, we got a little bit we got a little bit of a break there with Hampton, and unfortunately for Najee Harris. Hopefully Najee's good to go next season. He was only on that 1-year deal though. So I don't know where he's going to be. Adam might be frozen. I think he is. I'll just keep going here though. Wait, was it me? Was it me because I'm talking about Omarion Hampton? He's like, I can't continue to do this anymore, which I understand. The other running backs that I wanted to talk about though were Jordan Mason. So obviously with Jordan Mason, if you have him, he is obviously going to be in your starting lineup. So Aaron Jones is on IR, obviously because of the hamstring injury. So when we're looking at Jordan Mason, 23.6 points in the Vikings blowout win over the Bengals, we can't expect that every single season. It's just unfortunately not going to happen. As much as we'd want it to happen, it's just not going to. He had 76% of the snaps and the rushing attempts over the first 3 quarters, but he still is going to upgrade RB2 territory for me. And then the last one, let me get my notes here. Adam just went away. It's fine. We have each other right now. Quinshon Judkins. When I'm looking at Quinshon Judkins, he is going to be the primary rushing option here. So if you have Quinshon Judkins, I think the rest of the way, you're going to be okay with taking him, putting him into your starting lineups because he just looks so good. He's commanded so much opportunity in this backfield. So I think for him, like 37% route participation, 3% target share, that's stuff you love to see. So those are the guys that I like for the running backs here. We're going to continue on, try and get Adam back here. I'm a little, try and get Adam back here. And we're going to be talking with Matthew Berry. He's going to be coming up here next. Oh, this is Fantasy Life. We are back right here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam, Ronis with you. And we get to talk with the one and only Matthew Berry, breaking down everything that he's expecting for week 4. Matthew, welcome in. How you doing?
I am well. Kendall, how are you? How's Adam? How's everyone doing in the middle of week 4?
We're great.
Towards week 4, I should say.
Yeah, we're great. I mean, minus all the injuries and the bad backup starting quarterbacks that we have in the league now, everything's fine, Matthew. It's like that meme where everything's on fire and it's like, this is fine. That kind of feels like some of my teams right now. I'm not going to lie.
It's brutal. I feel like I say this every year, but I really feel like this year it's worse than ever. I was saying this on my show yesterday on Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So I'm in 31 leagues this year, and so this past week I ended up having a great week. I went 26-5, and the one of the losses was in a dynasty league where I'm actively trying to sort of rebuild and tank. So it's really 26-4 of leagues of where I'm trying to win.
Uh-huh.
But I'm much more depressed about the 4 losses than I am the 26 wins. And because 2 of the losses were in guillotine leagues, and on these teams, Kendall, I think I have Chase Brown, Alvin Kamara, Malik Neighbors, Zay Flowers. I had Jared Goff in a game where the over/under was north of 50, and it hit. And and not only did I get chopped, it wasn't close.
Yeah,
like not one of my Tyler Warren. Under 8 fantasy points. This is like, where's all the fantasy points? It's sad. I mean, like, again, it's just, and then you CD Lamb and Jamar Chase had a tough game. Anyway, It's just,
I know.
I say.
We'll make it better. We'll make it better, Matthew. That's why we're talking to you to get the best advice heading into week 4. And I think, one of the big questions though is, Jake Browning, that whole offense did not look good. We talked about how he looked a lot better in 2023 because that's the last time we saw him in this kind of role when Joe Burrow went down with an injury before. And it was, we were saying, okay, he's going to be salvageable. He is at least going to be able to support Jamar Chase. But I'm curious with how you saw that game. Their schedule also doesn't ease up. How much are you downgrading a guy like Jamar Chase and someone like Tee Higgins? Like, should Tee Higgins find your bench?
Yeah, I get the question. Obviously, it was a tough game against the Vikings last week, and I have to believe that every day the Bengals sort of wake up and thank God for the Houston Texans, so that no one's calling the Bengals the worst offensive line in football, because it's bad. Having said that, I have to believe that they will make adjustments. That Zach Taylor's too good of a coach. That there's too many good skill players on the Bengals, and that and they'll make adjustments. You're right on the schedule. The schedule, especially the next 3 games, are tough for Cincinnati. But in terms of where I'm ranking them, Jamar Chase to me goes from the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy at the beginning of the year to now a low-end wide receiver 1. He's kind of in that 12 to 14 range. And then and then Tee Higgins goes now probably like a high-end wide receiver 3, sort of in the, 20 to 25 range for me. Again, as we'll continue to go, the positives here are that there's still a fairly narrow target tree, that it is going to be a offense that needs to continue to, have a high pass rate over expectations, that they're not able to run the ball, which is also frustrating for those of us that have a lot of Chase Brown, and I'm one of those. But ultimately, I don't think for our purposes that you're benching any of these guys. Again, let's talk in a week, but I feel like you're just lowering expectations. I'm not sitting there going, well, should I start Tee Higgins or should I start Chase Brown? Or I feel like, for any of those guys, you just got to start them and hope for better days. I do think, though, that those who are thinking, oh, Jake Browning can be a viable streamer because he's a guy that in 2023 was a top 10 fantasy quarterback on a points per game basis for the 7 games he started for Cincy. I think that is I don't think you can use him until further notice, until we see it on the field.
Alvin Kamara has 10 targets and 9 receptions in 3 games. His target share for the season is 9%. He was never below 12% in a game last year. Are you lowering expectations for him?
You know what, I am, Adam, and that's a good point. Like one of the pro Kamara, as we just talked about. I have a guillotine league team that suffered a tough fate thanks to Alvin Kamara's lack of passing game usage, which we thought was such a high floor. I think one of the stats I gave in the preseason was I don't think he's ever had a career, a single-digit career target share. He's never in his entire career. And I think the issue here is ultimately Spencer Rattler, right? Spencer, it's 2 things. Number one is I think Spencer Rattler is more willing to sort of chuck it deep and do a little more YOLO stuff than some of the other quarterbacks that Kamara's had throughout the years. And also some of the short stuff, it feels like, is going to Chris Olave now instead of Alvin Kamara. Like you see Olave is whatever it is, 7 for 50 or something like that, right? So it's just I don't foresee it getting better as long as he's on the Saints. It's frustrating, but I think Kamara is now in flex territory and not the high-end RB2, mid to high-end RB2 that he's probably drafted as. I think he's more of a flex unless he gets traded. Honestly, the Saints should trade him to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's the deal that should happen. I don't know if that it will. I have no inside sources on that, but I just the Saints aren't going anywhere. The Chiefs really need a running back that can catch passes. That feels like a fit to me.
It's not fun for my Isaiah Pacheco shares though, Matthew. So that also doesn't feel like it's going to get any better though either. That's been disappointing so far. Not to just take it that way, but that has been disappointing. Speaking of the Chiefs though, I want to know this weekend too, Matthew, who you believe in more. Tyquan Thornton with the Chiefs, who looks to be their leading receiver right now, or maybe a little Tre Tucker, who gave us 40 fantasy points in week 3. Who do you like more going into this weekend?
Oh, Kendall, that's a great question. I'm gonna say Tyquan Thornton. I sort of believe in more. Obviously it's a monster game from Tre Tucker. They're both running a ton of routes. They're both, I think, over 80% route participation off the top of my head. I'm currently driving now, so I don't have anything I can look up. But off the top of my head, I think both are on over 80% route participation. So it just comes down a little bit to, in terms of Tre Tucker, while it was a monster game against my Commanders, they've still got Brock Bowers. They've still got Jacoby Myers. They still, in theory, have Ashton Genty. Please, #free Ashton Genty. And so I think, assuming a normal offense for the Raiders, he's their 4th option at best. And I think you can make an argument that Tyquan Thornton at the moment is the number 1 option on the Chiefs offense. Now they spread it around a lot, and you've got Kelsey there, and they, and you've got some Hollywood Brown mixed in as well. But give me the guy that's got Mahomes versus the guy that's got Geno Smith. And I weirdly think Tyquan Thornton has more of an opportunity in terms of sort of target share and offensive role than Tre Tucker. But both guys are out there playing a ton of snaps on offenses that are throwing.
With Jaxson Dart taking over at quarterback for the Giants, what do you think this does for the rest of the team's fantasy prospects?
Nowhere to go but up, Adam. I said yesterday, and I'm sure you guys did as well, that Jaxson, I don't know if you guys were on the air when the news broke, but I thought Dart was a priority on every waiver wire where he was available. I know he was stashed in a lot of 2-quarterback leagues and Superflex leagues, but I think he's going to be a borderline top 12 fantasy quarterback. I think he uses his legs a lot. I think he'll be an upgrade over Russell Wilson. Sorry, Kendall. Yeah, but fine. I think if you have, Malik Neighbor shares, I'm sitting here with looking at a sub 4-point game last week for Neighbors. nowhere to go but up. They had to make the move. They didn't want to make the move this quickly, but they had to because it was just tough. And honestly, I actually think that what the Giants should do, no one asks me, but Adam, they should. And
They should.
If Joe Shane called me, I would say, yeah, exactly. I said, get on the phone with Cincinnati and offer them Russell Wilson for whatever you can get, because you still have Jameis there as a backup to Dart in case something happens. But I think Russ will be an upgrade over Browning. And the Bengals are 2-1. For as bad as it looked last week, Bengals are still 2-1. Like they're much better at this point in the season than they usually are the first 3 games of the year. And I do think, I think for Wando Robinson, hopefully we can get Theo Johnson going a little bit. Cam Skattebo obviously now taking over the role with Tyrone Tracy banged up. I do think Dart elevates the entire offense, and all those players that you would normally use, depending on the size of your league, become better versions of themselves with Dart. I'm very excited about the Jaxson Dart era.
All right, talking with Matthew Berry here. One more before we let you go. Can you say any good things about the Eagles? I mean, we finally got fantasy points, Matthew. So I know A.J. Brown managers were happy. Jalen Hurts fantasy managers were happy. But how much of that to you was game script and the rest of the way? Or I should say maybe the next couple weeks. They take on Tampa Bay on the road. Then they take on the Denver Broncos at home. I mean, are we going to get this type of Eagles team every week, or is it going to be up and down?
I think it's going to be up and down, and I think that if I had A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith and I could get a reasonable offer for them, I would make that move. I do think it was more game script. I think they want to be a run-heavy team. They were one of the run-heaviest teams in the NFL last year, and so far through the first 2 games they were as well. And by the way, it's working. That's the thing. It's like why are they doing this? Well, it's working. They're winning games. And so, yes, the Rams got up big, and so they sort of had to, all right, let's start passing. But I don't think that's how they want to operate their offense. Doesn't seem like that based on the success they had last year and early season start. So if I could get close to market value, close to what I paid on draft day for Smith and Brown, I would 100% do it, because I think it's going to be very up and down. I think people that have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on their rosters are going to be frustrated by the inconsistency this season. Hurts and Barkley, to me, are the only week in, week out sure things in the Eagles offense at the moment.
All right, Matthew. Well, we appreciate you so much. Good luck going into week 4, and hopefully no more guillotine league chops. I mean, what do we have to do here? No more of that. You have to go the rest of the way.
Yeah. Listen, like I said, I'm still in, I guess I'm now in 29 leagues, and many of them are guillotine leagues, so it's fine. Literally, my wife is like, what are you doing? I'm like, waivers. She goes, you've been doing it for an hour. And I'm like, I know.
Just getting started.
It's just, yeah, I don't think you understand. This is part of the gig. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Kendall and Adam. Hey, everyone, do me a favor. Go to fantasylife.com and sign up for my free newsletter. Me and my friends send out a free newsletter every single day. It's a 5-minute read, 100% free, that comes to your inbox about everything you need to know for the day in fantasy football. So, listen, if you don't like it, just unsubscribe. It's a free newsletter, but give it a shot at fantasylife.com. And, of course, at noon, at the top of the hour, check out Fantasy Football Happy Hour, my show, live on YouTube and Channel 85. Actually, no, we're not on Channel 85 till 5. We're on YouTube live at noon, and of course wherever you get your podcasts. So
awesome.
Check us out live at noon, Fantasy Football Happy Hour.
Awesome. Well, everyone will tune into that. No one's going to unsubscribe from the newsletter because it's just that amazing. And Matthew, we appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.
All right, there he goes. The one and only Matthew Berry getting a little bit of insights here going into week 4. I want to know, Adam, we're going to size up these undefeated teams, these 3-0 teams. Which ones are for real? Which ones might be a little bit fake? And what can we take from them going into this new week 4 fantasy football? We're going to break those guys down here coming up next. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. That's right, football fans. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. And this Sunday at 4:25 Eastern, it's a must-see matchup between former MVPs when Lamar Jackson and the Ravens fly into Arrowhead Stadium to take on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today and count on Sundays for another must-see season of the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Oh, it sure is. We are here to help you dominate all those fantasy football leagues, all those guillotine leagues as well that you're in heading into week 4, which should be another great week of football. Every week is a great week of football, but we're here. We're ready to go. You got undefeated teams. I'm curious. I'm just checking I haven't been chopped yet. I'm going to win it all this year. Maybe at least 5 of them. I feel good about them.
Yeah, just don't blow $300 on quarterbacks, and I think you should be okay.
Listen, it's just, some of us have our things, that we go through, for fantasy, whatever it is. And me, I can't stop talking about quarterbacks with you and Dwayne when Dwayne's on here, and I can't stop paying for him. The blow, though, was that I paid that much money for Joe Burrow, and then that same week, he went down with an injury, which I should have been chopped there. And I don't know which player I had that absolutely went off to save me, but yeah, it was brutal. So now I have less money, but I might be a little bit more frugal.
Yeah, look, I think the people who paid for CeeDee Lamb last week feel the same. Pay that money and then you don't even get anything. You get hurt early in the game, you get a 0, and then you wasted a lot of money.
Or you get chopped, which is even worse. So we're here to help everyone, but I'm alive in those, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling overly confident, which always means that something good's going to happen. It's gonna be great. What could go wrong? 3-0 teams that I just wanted to hit on here this season. So we've got 6 of them left: Indianapolis Colts, 49ers, Bucks, Chargers, Buffalo Bills, and the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm curious for you, which one you think is more legit. This feels like a good group of teams that are just a little bit different, especially when we look at, maybe Tampa Bay, maybe the 49ers still being able to be undefeated with all their injuries that they've gone through. And of course, I think the wild card that maybe some people expected, but it definitely wasn't me, and I don't think it was you, was the Indianapolis Colts. So for them to get that win over Miami, of course, and then Denver and then Tennessee, they've looked really good this season.
They have. They're definitely the biggest surprise here. I mean, they did beat 2 really bad teams, but it doesn't matter because you have to beat the teams that's in front of you. And they dominated those games. 33-8 against the Dolphins, 41-20 against Tennessee. Denver was the test after week 1, and they did win by a point. Did catch a break, too, on that penalty. But we'll learn more about them this week. They have a tough opponent on the road against the Rams, who played extremely well against the Eagles and should have won that game. But afterwards, they get the Raiders and Cardinals at home, at the Chargers, which will be a tough one, home to the Titans. So they might be able to pile up some wins here. I mean, when you look at their schedule, it's not that bad. I mean, this is a team that looks like they can win 10 games. If you look at that schedule, now we know things happen, injuries occur, but there's a lot of winnable games on the schedule for them. They do face the NFC West, which is tough, right? That's a really good division right now. But yeah, things are looking good for the Colts.
That's why I thought it was interesting when I think it was Jonathan Von Tobel when he was with us on Monday said maybe looking at the most wins when we're looking at the Colts, which again, I would have never expected that, but I'm going to have him QB 10. Daniel Jones, by the way, this week, I think inside the top 12 for sure.
Yeah, right now with the way he's playing and he runs and a lot of the injuries to some of the quarterbacks, I have him on a team with Drake May, and that's I'm probably going with May most weeks. I'm going with May this week against Carolina, but it's a nice problem to have when you look at some of your other teams. But those decisions always kind of haunt you because you're going to get it wrong some weeks.
There's a really good article in The Athletic that if you're a Colts fan or just want to learn about Daniel Jones and why he's looked so good, they kind of broke down what the difference was, and I think it was an interesting.
Simple.
Well, that's true too. But the one thing was that they talked about how he was easily rattled with the blitz. Like when the blitz was coming at him, he was always he had a 40.9% success rate on dropbacks against the blitz. That's through the first 6 years of his career. It's just, and now you're looking at him and you're saying, wow, this is actually getting a lot better. So he now has a 59.6% success rate on dropbacks against the blitz. And I think that's just really impressive. Based on what we saw, 40.9% success rate on dropbacks with the blitz for 6 years, and now it's looking better. I mean, he just seems comfortable.
Yeah, look, and all the pieces, again, this is the best set of weapons he's had around him. He has an elite running back in Jonathan Taylor, who's playing at a high level. Michael Pittman, we know he's a good receiver. Josh Downs, Alec Pierce, I know dealing with the concussion now. He can stretch the defense. Tyler Warren adding him and the way they move him around and put him in different spots. So, yeah, they have a really good offense, and Shane Steichen is we know he's a good offensive coach. It's coming around here, and they're in a division where they could run away with it. I mean, the Texans and Titans are both 0-3 and look bad, and Jacksonville is a fake 2-1.
Who loses first? Really quick. Who loses first out of these 6?
49ers.
All right. We're going to
actually
the water
Bucks.
Cooler.
Sorry, Bucks.
Oh, he's changing it. Call us in. We're going to the water cooler next. Oh, it is about that time. Time for that Fantasy Life Water Cooler, where we break down all the news and notes that you might have missed here and get you all caught up heading into week 4 of the NFL season. Get you all ready to go. Hopefully all of your waiver wire bids went through. You didn't have to spend that much money and you got everyone you needed. But if you didn't, make sure you go to fantasylife.com. That is where you can go not only subscribe to that newsletter that Matthew Berry was talking about, and not unsubscribe. You're going to love it. So don't even need to put that out there. But go check that out. It is 100% free in your inbox 7 days a week. And then also you can go and check out all of our great tools and utilization, utilization reports that we have over there. So we not only have our rankings, we've got start sit tools, we've got our projections, the waiver wire tool, the trade analyzer, Adam, which I'm going to start bringing up because I've seen a ton of trade questions heading into this week because it feels like a big one to start looking at, buy opportunities, selling opportunities. So we also have a trade analyzer over there that I want to recommend people go and check out. And of course, the utilization suite of tools. So use that code SXM20. SXM20 gets you 20% off. If you've been looking at it, you're saying, oh man, I really want maybe tier 1, maybe I want tier 2. Now's the time to do it. Just go ahead and use that code SXM20 and you'll continue dominating those leagues. We are going to have a segment of just buy, sell here, Adam, and see what we like for some of these guys, if we're going to buy into them, if we're going to sell them high, buy them low, whatever it may be. So we also have the phone lines open though too. We want to make sure that we are getting in as many phone calls as we can just to help everyone listening to us. 888-963-2682, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. I already see questions coming in over on X as well. You guys get it. At Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there is where you can send in questions if you don't have time to call in. It's a good day, Adam. It's a really good day. I see waivers going through. I'm sure I won't get anyone in our GST league, but that's fine.
I haven't looked yet, so I do them in order of what time they run. Obviously, I have a couple that actually run on Tuesday night, then a couple this afternoon, and then some that run overnight tonight. So I do them in order of when they run, so I make sure I don't miss anything. So I haven't even looked at our GST yet, but I can tell you this. Once again, in these leagues with 20 rounds, the waiver wire is absolutely brutal. There's just nothing available. And the guys that are there, you're like, I really don't want to spend much money on this player. So I can't remember it being this thin in those deeper formats.
We say that every year.
No, this year more than ever.
Bad. I mean, this is
you're right. Last year was not a good waiver wire overall.
Last week was bad. Last week was bad. This year, again, for running backs, I mean, we haven't really had
nothing.
Much. I mean,
there's nothing. The biggest
Marks is nice.
He's gone in those leagues.
I know.
The one running back that is available in those 20-round leagues this week is Amari DiMercato. He's probably one. And do you really want to spend a lot of money on him? Do you really want to start him? So
no. I probably will take a shot because
look, he's a change of pace back.
Yeah.
Where you hope that maybe he gets out there and catches a few passes because again, the bye weeks are coming up. But again, he's not a player that you're spending 10, 15, 20% of your budget. That's my point.
Yeah, I was up last night actually. I was 2 a.m. because I was like, wait,
what? You woke up in the middle of the night, right?
I woke up.
I was gonna say, there's no way you were up till 2 a.m.
I was thinking, no, heck no. I wouldn't be here this morning. I'd call in. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I didn't sleep last night. But I woke up because I was thinking, it's just one of those times this week where I was thinking about the waiver wire. And I went through to see who I got because I was a little bit nervous about some of them. But it's brutal out there. I mean, if you're waking up in the middle of the night to check if you got Turpin or Tolbert, it's just absolutely awful out there. So So
That's why I
there
don't
are
sleep. I keep thinking
Oh,
about
yeah.
that.
But honestly, that's probably it. That is probably what
Could
you do
be.
that and you're betting. And then you do fantasy baseball, which is insane. And now you're getting ready for fantasy basketball. So I think that the whole combination of all those things is not good for your
Yeah,
health.
too many things where you're thinking about different players, bets, strategies. So
Yeah,
yeah, too
exactly.
much information in my
You
head.
need to
I
calm
can't
down.
clear my head.
What did Tori Horton tell you to do? The red light.
Red
Get the
light, yeah.
red light therapy or something like that. What would you drop first? Fantasy baseball or fantasy basketball if you had to pick one? Let's do
Well,
like
I
middle
only
leagues.
do one season long league for fantasy basketball just
Okay.
because the timing of it, right?
Yeah, that's difficult.
You're starting to do your drafts the next couple weeks and it's like it hits you real quick because you're like, oh wow, baseball just ends. You're in the middle of football. And I mean, football for what we do, it's just every day is busy.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
long days and there's always something going on. So I do like basketball betting a lot though. So that's where I
Okay.
kind of make up for it.
Okay. All right. I like it. I like it. Well, we're getting you guys ready, like I said, for week 4. Everything's over there. Utilization report. If you need any fantasy basketball advice, go hit up Adam at Adam Ronis. It's sick. It's just sick that you're doing all of that at the same time. It's insane to me. We already talked about the news at the top of the hour, but just in case Adam people missed it, you are going to get a Jaxson Dart start. Ooh, say that 5 times fast. Jaxson Dart QB1 over there for the Giants going into this weekend. I don't want to say it feels like a winnable game because this Giants team just has the toughest strength of schedule for the rest of the year, but it does feel like a good spot for him to be starting. At least it's not against the Eagles. At least it's not against some of these other tough teams, but this will be tough. I mean, it's against the Chargers. At least they are at home. We talked about at the beginning that we're not necessarily moving guys around so much. I talked about the projections that he has for this weekend, and it's not awful. Its expectations are a little bit lower because we know that he's coming in. It'll be his first NFL start. And so for him, we know that he has the rushing upside and the rushing ability. But for me, you're starting Cam Skattebo, you're starting Malik Neighbors, and I think Wan'Dale Robinson is still like a wide receiver 3, even with him in there.
Yeah, look, he gives the offense some hope. It just was not there with Russ Wilson, who did have one big game, but it was against Dallas. And everyone is going to have a huge game against Dallas. See Caleb Williams last week. They're just a defense you're going to pick on. So at least, again, Dart showed some things in the preseason. Doesn't mean much, but a young quarterback. He's got some legs. And you just want to see him get the ball to Malik Neighbors. We cannot have another Malik Neighbors game that we saw this past week, which, again, we never saw last year. That was awful. Just 7 targets, 2 for 13. He didn't catch a pass until the fourth quarter. That's just inexcusable. They had 4 different quarterbacks last year, and he never dealt with a game that bad. So that's really what you want to see. Skattebo obviously looked good last week, but it is a tough matchup. You look at the Chargers here, the first 3 weeks, they gave up 258 and 1 touchdown to Mahomes. They gave up 180 to Geno Smith with no touchdowns and picked him off 3 times. And Bo Nix, who is struggling right now, 153 passing yards and 1 touchdown. Again, they only ran 48 plays. That's going to happen. But they have been giving up rushing yards to these quarterbacks. Mahomes, 57, Geno Smith, 20, Bo Nix, 33. So you could see something like that with Dart. We know he can run. But yeah, you are picking him up in a lot of leagues, especially if you need a backup quarterback, and you might put him on the bench this week and just see how he performs. Better matchup next week against the Saints, but as we mentioned, yeah, 4 of the next 5 games are going to be challenging, but he does bring at least some hope, and these running quarterbacks have a high floor, and the Giants will be playing from behind consistently, where maybe he could put up some numbers late in the game and give you good fantasy lines at some point.
Let's hope so. Again, we've got a great article live at fantasylife.com about Jaxson Dart, but just for you guys to know his projections, 201 yards, 1 touchdown, and then on the ground, 25.6 rushing yards is what we have him projected for going into this weekend. And like I said, Malik Neighbors still a mid-tier wide receiver 1. You're going to play Cam Skattebo everywhere you can, and then low-end wide receiver 3, if not maybe a high-end wide receiver 4 there for Wan'Dale Robinson going into the weekend. So we'll see how he does. Again, I see some questions coming in on X over there. So at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis, and then the phone lines. If you guys want to call in, we're here to answer all your questions. 888-963-2682. The other piece of news here that I wanted to go through, Adam, that we haven't talked about yet is Terry McLaurin's week 4 status. a little bit up in the air, still uncertain if he's going to be able to go because of that quad injury. So I saw this. According to multiple reports, Terry McLaurin is seeking additional opinions on the quad injury that he suffered in that week 3 win over the Raiders. And so I think at this point, Adam, we just don't know. It's Wednesday. Obviously, today's practices are somewhat important, but we always say this, it's the Thursday, Fridays. And so if you have McLaurin, you have to be preparing to maybe not have him this weekend.
Yeah, he's not playing. From all indications, this does not sound good. Again, he's already had several opinions. They think it's a quad injury, but it could be more. This does not sound good. Usually when you're going for second opinions, it doesn't get better. So, yeah, if you have McLaurin, I would definitely be prepared to be without him this week and longer as well. And it's easy to say, but another example of these players that hold out that tend to suffer these injuries when you miss so much time and then you come back and try and ramp it up. So, I mean, again, it could be just a coincidence, but we have seen, and that was probably the concern for some people that were not drafting McLaurin. They were well, we've seen in the past these players that tend to hold out, the injuries seem to get them.
Anyone down this depth chart that catches your eye then if you don't have Terry McLaurin in this game? Of course, Deebo Samuel is going to be rostered. Noah Brown is there. Zach Ertz is going to get his. I've seen people in deeper formats throw around Luke McCaffrey. I'm not ready to go down that far, but if you want to add like a speculative ad, if you really need help over there, maybe McCaffrey, but anyone really stick out to you?
Yeah, it would be McCaffrey.
Yeah.
I think he would be the ad if McLaurin misses an extended period of time. Again, I would be surprised if he plays this week based on this news, and now you do have to worry, how long is this absence going to be?
Disappointing. Disappointing for all fantasy managers over there for him. So again, Terry McLaurin, that week 4 status is up in the air. I've got a few more just rapid fire ones here. It looks like Zach Charbonnet was estimated as a full participant in Tuesday's practice, yesterday's practice. So that's good for Charbonnet managers. And then looks like the Chiefs are, quote, optimistic that Xavier Worthy will be able to play a limited role for the offense while wearing a small harness in week 4. So again, it's not great news, but if you have Xavier Worthy and he's going to be out there, it'll be interesting. I don't have him ranked yet because I want to make sure that we get that confirmation. But again, if you have Tyquan Thornton, he's been putting up fantasy points for you. So we'll see if Xavier Worthy's able to go out there. But they did say that they're optimistic on this one.
Yeah, this is a tough one because he could go out there and just not be effective, or it bothers him too much. So
Yep.
very risky player. I do have him in a couple leagues and haven't decided what to do with him yet. Again, it really comes down to who else you have. You might be in a desperate situation where you really need him. But yeah, I think we need more info on this before deciding what to do with Worthy.
I think at this point, though, if you have Tyquan Thornton, I know it's not a sexy name, not a fun name, and this could be short-lived. I understand that too, but we're not talking about 3 weeks from now yet. I mean, we're not talking that Rashee Rice is back, Xavier Worthy's healthy. If you have him, I would be looking to maybe start him in. I think he upgrades. I think the upgrade, though, I'm not saying he's a wide receiver 2. I still think he's in the wide receiver 4 territory, and it's going to be boom bust. But if you are in a spot where you've got these injuries going on, you had Terry McLaurin, you had Mike Evans, you had some of these guys, you just need to go for the potential boom. And I think he could give it to you, even though it's not going to be pretty. But if Xavier Worthy's out there in a harness and a brace, and you still don't have Rashee Rice, I mean, it's a spot where you're probably going to start him.
Look, he's been getting these shots deep and connecting on them. He has a reception of 38, 49, and 33 yards in the first 3 games. We saw he got 9 targets last week. Look, this offense is brutal right now. It is awful to watch. They don't do anything well. That's the problem. They can't run the football. There's just nothing here that's positive. So what happens is Mahomes is trying to make plays out of structure, and he's just like, all right, I'll just throw it downfield to Thornton, and hopefully he makes a play. And he has several times. But, yeah, this is just – it's a tough offense to watch right now. And one of these teams, Ravens or Chiefs, is going to be 1-3 after this week. So
crazy.
Yeah. And, I mean, I think the Ravens are better than what they've shown. They've obviously faced 2 of the better teams in the NFL, in the Bills and Lions, and lost both. But they need to – they need to win these games because the test for them is always the postseason. We know they're a good regular season team. It's like, okay, are you going to do anything in the playoffs? So, it's going to be an interesting game this week to see who comes out as the winner and which team is 1-3 and putting themselves in a hole. I think the Ravens would still be fine at 1-3 in that division.
I do too. You just always look at the uphill battles though, and
It is, yeah.
you treat them.
No
Yeah.
margin for error. But I would say that the Ravens, even if they somehow lost this game, probably still win the division. I mean, think about it. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh are both 2-1. Does
For
anyone
sure.
believe in either team?
No, I agree with
Both
you.
are have negative point differentials.
They just need to clean it up though. That's the thing. It was back and forth, but in that game a couple days ago, but it was just they just need to clean it up. I mean,
Yeah, Derrick Henry needs to stop fumbling.
What are we doing? Maybe he needs some like Skittles or some candy. Maybe he needs some candy in the diet.
Needs something because can't have those fumbles. I mean,
their
defense too has been a problem.
Exactly, the defense needs to step it up too. So again, we'll see on some of these, but I do agree that the Ravens should be okay moving forward. But again, looks like Chiefs are optimistic that Xavier Worthy could go. Zach Charbonnet was listed or estimated as a full participant yesterday, so we'll continue to watch for that. And then Terry McLaurin still unknown if he's going to be good to go for Week 4. I see some questions coming in that I'm going to kind of go more rapid fire here, Adam. Got a flex spot question from Lionheart over there. Drake London or Cam Skattebo in the flex this weekend? Ooh, I think it's Skattebo.
That is crazy that we're talking like this here.
I think it's close, but don't you think it's Scat?
Yeah.
Say it.
All right, I'll lean. I don't. Nah, I can't.
You don't
I'm going
it?
Drake London. I like Skattebo this week.
I know you do,
but London
just been awful.
I know that, but it's got to get better. I'm going London. Yeah.
Okay. If you think it has to, he's only 7.
So where do you have Skattebo this week? Like overall in the flex rankings, 12?
So I'm going to have London around 40, I think. That's why I said it's close. No, 12, not 12. 20, 26, 25 for Skattebo. Maybe 1. You know what? Listen, if he gets us 40 fantasy points, I think we have to buy jerseys. I'm going to have 25, but I do think London, like if we're talking just flex in the flex spot, I think he's closer to 40. You don't? It's been bad. Like
I know
Penix
it's been bad. I know
it's not his fault. It really is a Michael Penix conversation, which I think we've talked about, but it's just, I mean, it was an offensive collapse.
The thing is that his floor is still really high. They were shut out last week. He still had 5 for 55, 10.5 in a PPR. So
only 72% of his attempts have been charted as catchable by PFF. He's got a 51.4 PFF passing grade through 3 weeks, and I know it can get better. It's just if you want consistency, I feel like you'd get a more consistent game from Skattebo this weekend than Drake London. But I think it's close.
I like Skattebo, but I cannot play him over Drake London just yet. I mean, that was the first time we saw him in a big game, and yeah, he had. I mean, it was mostly in the passing game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's
he's with a new quarterback this week too.
We just need progress. That's the thing from Penix that I've been reading. We just need to see him, do a little bit better.
Just do what he did last year. Just 39 targets in 3 games to Drake London. Get him the football.
All the Kyle Pitts managers are screaming right now. Come on, get him the ball. One from Kevin here. Love or Murray this weekend for one, and then Love or Mayfield. I think I have Kyler Murray ranked higher this week going into the weekend.
Really? Do you know who the Packers play?
Let me look. Well, I do.
I think you might want to change that.
Oh, yeah. No, actually, I do have Jordan Love. I forget sometimes. I do have Jordan Love.
Yeah, Jordan Love gets the Cowboys for people who are not catching that. So, yeah, I am playing Love over both quarterbacks.
Love over Mayfield? Yeah.
Yeah, look.
Mayfield's
going up against Philly without Mike Evans and Egbuka, who is not 100%. He played the whole game. We'll see the injury report this week. I'm assuming he's going to play good to go. Potentially Chris Godwin coming back and there's no way he's playing a full complement of snaps. And as good as Mayfield has been, it's all come down basically to the fourth quarter. Even this past week, it was 1 touchdown and 233. Look at his passing yards, 233, 215, 167. It has not been great for Baker Mayfield. We all remember the highlights of him coming back in the fourth quarter and making those plays. But over the full course of a game, it hasn't been great for Mayfield. Again, not awful. He hasn't thrown an interception. He has 6 touchdowns in 3 games. But in this matchup against Philly, and again, Jordan Love, I know some weeks he just doesn't put up points, but going up against the Cowboys, I mean, this is the game to get Jordan Love going and get him confidence and taking shots downfield and getting Matthew Golden the ball.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
I think we have to play the matchup against Dallas until they prove otherwise, that whoever the quarterback is, that we're pretty much putting him in there. The one thing I
Yeah.
do like from Baker Mayfield, he is running a lot. He has at least
Oh,
33
yeah.
rushing yards in 3 games.
They're
33, 44, and 39. So,
wow, that's nice.
his prop. Well, then again,
Got
it's
the
Philly's
over.
defense, though.
Yeah, their point differential is ranks tied for the smallest of any 3-0 team in the league history. I saw that per Pro Football Reference. I mean, it's just crazy how they're winning. They've scored the winning points for their team with 59-6 and 0 seconds remaining on the game clock this year
Yeah.
so far. It's been
I mean,
crazy.
you give them credit, but like
No, you can't keep it up
shows,
though.
yeah, it's not
That's the thing.
sustainable.
Yeah.
You mentioned, so yeah, Tampa's differentials +6. The other 3-0 team, San Francisco, +10.
Wow. San Francisco's the one that surprises me the most. I wouldn't have expected that with all their injuries and everything else going on, but we'll see. Brock Purdy should be good to go this weekend. They hope, because Mac Jones is injured. So they're hoping that he's good to go.
And Purdy did put in some limited practices late last week too.
Yeah. So we should see him. We should see him going into this weekend. Appreciate everyone sending in those questions. We're going to continue with them. You're right, though. Jordan Love. What am I saying? I've got him QB9. And then Kyler Murray, that's a Thursday night game tomorrow, 15 against our Seattle Seahawks. Ours? Oh, we should have gone to that game. What are we doing?
I don't know. You dropped the ball. I
burrito.
mean, come on. Get your
Dang
money
it. We
up
could have
and
had-
pay for
what
the
else did
tickets.
they had some weird, what did I say earlier in the year? A Nutella pie or something like that? What did I say?
For Arizona?
Yeah. They have
Yeah, I
something
mean,
else weird going
they
on.
had the cotton candy burrito last year,
They
right?
still
That was
do,
them?
I think.
Oh, they do?
I think that, yeah. They're
Well,
holding
you know,
out-
they
they're holding
have
out for us.
to appease the fans with food, because watching that offense will make you sick.
Oh, that was a good one. That was good. We're in mid-season form right now. All right. We're going to continue on again. Use that code SXM20, gets you 20% off any tier 1 or tier 2 subscription. Stockwatch. Gosh, you're going to get the Cardinals fans coming after us. It's Stockwatch here. We're going to see which guys are going to go hard, go home. And then, like I said, I've seen a couple questions come through. We are going to go through buy low, sell high candidates. And I've seen some questions about, George Pickens and some other fantasy guys. So we're going to break those down. But first, we're going to do Stockwatch here coming up next. Secret Weapon, also Folgers. Had a great cup of coffee today, Adam.
Did you? I'm happy
Locked
for
in.
you.
No, thank you. I'm locked in.
I had one too. It was not Folgers.
Oh, well, I was going to say it's good that you're drinking coffee again before the
Is
show.
it? I'm not
I
sure.
don't know. I
It's
was
not
kinda
good
concerned about
but
you
it's
doing
not
these
good
shows.
to drink that as
What
the
do you
first
mean?
thing.
Why?
It's
I know
not.
it's not. I know
Yeah.
it's not good for you.
So that's
But
why I'm
we do
ruining
it anyway.
myself.
We do it anyways.
I
It's
do it
not
for
gonna
this
stop.
show.
Uh-huh. You do it before. You do it on those Sundays, those early mornings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I
Those are
don't, I
brutal.
don't know how bad that'll be.
It's brutal, but I love that show with you and Gene, so it's a good one. You guys will have a lot to talk about. We'll have the 6:30 a.m. Pacific time kickoff this weekend. Woof. Just make sure to set your lineups. That's always the
2
worst
weeks in a
thing.
row. Yeah, that is something
That's
that
the
needs to be
worst when you
done. It's a
forget
good
to do
reminder
that.
for people.
Mhm.
I remember one year, this was a league where someone complained to the commissioner that they walk up late, and after Alvin Kamara had a huge game. That's the thing. It was like the third, fourth quarter.
What?
He goes to the commissioner, hey, like I woke up late. Is it okay if I put Kamara in my lineup? I would have started him. Commissioner comes to me and says, hey, are you okay with this?
Ooh.
And I'm like, no. First of all, the commissioner
No.
shouldn't even come to anyone. That's on you. You knew all week that the game is 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Sunday morning. That's on you. I mean, come on. And then the commissioner, like as a commissioner, I would never do that. I wouldn't. That's on you. That's your responsibility. Yes, we all know everyone will put, this was like, I don't know, a few years ago. So everyone would have Alvin Kamara in your starting lineup. Why was he on your bench to begin with? I don't know. I don't know if he was coming off a bye or whatever, but no. And then you ask me if it's okay, make me look like the bad guy? No, like that's absurd. So yeah, set your lineups. I don't want to hear no excuses.
I'm surprised you weren't nice and just said, yeah, give him the points. Sounds
in
like
the
you.
third, fourth quarter, like it's one thing if you do it like say like CBS
Right
does
when the
5
games
minutes,
Yeah,
5
yeah,
minutes
yeah.
before the game it locks, right? So say for some reason someone comes to me after the 5-minute lineup block, the game hasn't started yet, and says, "Hey, I woke up a little late. I just tried to change my lineup and I can't." The game didn't start. I'll grant that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the game didn't start. But you're going to
quarters
ask
in,
someone to
yeah,
change it in the
no.
third, fourth quarter after Kamara already scored 3 touchdowns? No.
I'd say, yeah. No,
I
absolutely
can't
not.
believe that actually happened, but it did.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then
Don't
the
be
guy
that
got mad at
person.
me. He's like, "Oh, you're."
What? Oh,
like,
come on.
I'm like, I'm not even arguing with you. You
Just
can
be
call me
better.
whatever you want. This is not. This doesn't even merit a discussion.
Yeah, just be better. And everyone listening right now, just make sure if you're setting your lineups, obviously for Thursday Night Football, just be ready. Set a preliminary lineup for the Sunday games. If you have players playing in that one, just make sure it's all ready to go. But Stock Watch here, I want to see going hard or going home here, presented by Mike's Hard Lemonade and the Stock Watch. Again, it's the official drink of those who go hard for their leagues. Want to see if any of these guys to you are going to continue going hard. I actually think stock is up, obviously for Hunter Henry, for New England. Again, you said they should have won that game. I agree with you 100%. But you saw a really great game from him, and he's like the go-to target right now for Drake May. I remember writing him up right before the season started, and I really liked him, and I really liked Tucker Kraft because of the potential for him to be a really good weapon for May if some of these other guys, and Stephon Diggs is not doing it for him, is coming out there. So he's got a really good target share, and so I think, it's sometimes tough to predict, and you're always going to have those, low games where you say, dang, I shouldn't have started him. But I think Hunter Henry, for what it's worth, is going hard, and his stock is up.
I agree. And like you said, there will be some down games like we saw in week 2 where he had 1 catch for 9 yards against the Dolphins. It was Austin Hooper that week that got the tight end production. And we're not going to get what we saw last week every single week, but we understand that as at that tight end position, once you get past like the top guys, it's kind of dependent on touchdowns, but I think we're going to see the receptions. He had a good year last year, so he has the good rapport with Drake May, and the receivers still leave a lot to be desired.
Ugh,
Stephon Diggs has taken some time. Demario Douglas has seen his role decrease, so they're going to rely on Henry a bit here. And 22 targets in 3 games, you like to see that. So yeah, if you are hurting a tight end, maybe he's your tight end 2. You drafted him as a backup. I think there will be some weeks where you're looking to get him in the starting lineup. And in total points, he's 4th at tight end, obviously coming on the strength of last week's big game. And he is 4th in points per game in PPR format. So just like we all thought, the top 5 in tight ends. Tight ends, points per game in PPR. Jake Ferguson, Jawan Johnson, Trey McBride, Hunter Henry, and Dalton Kincaid.
Yuck. Oh my God, what are we doing? We know nothing. Hunter Henry at least has the Carolina Panthers this weekend, so I've got him at tight end. You're probably playing him. I've got him at tight end 8. I might move him up too. Maybe get him to 7. But you're definitely going to play him this weekend. And yeah, it looks good for him so far. Stock watch, stock up or down, going hard, going home. I have to bring it up. I'm sorry. Calvin Ridley for the Tennessee Titans. What are we doing? Come on. So Brian Callahan is also giving up play calling to their quarterbacks coach. That's some news I saw. I think they announced that yesterday. So they're changing things up. The Titans are 0-3, and Cam Ward, he is struggling. We see some good things when we're talking about Alec Iomanner, but the completion percentage, 54.5%, NFL high, 15 sacks through 3 weeks. They need that to improve, and I think fans are getting a little bit restless. Like they're just not ready to wait anymore. So Brian Callahan is giving up play calling duties. But yeah, what do you think about Calvin Ridley?
I mean, clearly his stock is down. I do have him in several leagues, and it's been really bad so far. I would probably bench him in some formats if you have the ability to, because again, he had a couple tough matchups the first couple weeks, but we expected to see more this past week, and we did it. We saw 7 targets, but 1 catch for 27 yards. Looks like, too, he's having a difficult time getting open. Pair that with Cam Ward struggles, and it's been a brutal start to the season. I mean, he has 8 catches for 111 yards in 3 games. We were hoping to get that in 1 game. 21 targets, just 8 receptions. So, yeah, it is brutal so far, and his stock is clearly down at this point.
Yeah, he's going home. I mean, he has the 12th lowest catchable target rate at 60%. That's horrible. And it's one of those things, like you said, he's earning the targets. His 6.7 targets per game. That's what are we looking at here? So I agree. Downgrades more to a wide receiver 4. And if you're in tough spots, I understand it. But yeah, they need to show a little bit of life with this offense. And I think Cam Ward can do it too. So maybe this change for play calling helps a little bit, but they need to show something there, because I do think this offense has a chance to be good. And I do believe in Cam Ward. It's just kind of putting it all together here. So we'll wait for him and see, but definitely down for Calvin Ridley. Another one here, stock up, stock down. You think he's going to go hard or go home? Matthew Golden? Can we say nice things yet about Matthew Golden? I mean, in the first game without Jaden Reed, he did have an impact, right? He caught all 4 of his targets for 52 yards. Again, not sexy, not fun, but at least we saw it for Matthew Golden. Like, we had to say something, hey, eventually he's going to have to get this because of the Jaden Reed injury. What do you think about him?
The stock is up. I don't know if it'll ever be what people were hoping for when they drafted him in round 7, just the nature of this offense. They have been giving him some carries too, 5 carries the last 2 weeks. So they're trying to get him more involved on the ground. It hasn't really resulted in any big plays yet, but you have to feel better about Golden going forward. And yes, it was only 4 targets, but it was a game where they struggled offensively. This
Yeah.
should be a week against Dallas where he breaks a big play.
I hope so. We need it. I mean, we saw it. We'd be talking so differently that game a couple weeks ago. I mean, where you had the underthrown ball and then the overthrow, and then you're just sitting there. If he would have caught either of those two, it would have been a lot different. But I agree. I think his stock is going a little bit up, and you just want to see a bit more. But they do have a good game this weekend. Sorry, I had to say that.
That's the truth.
It is the truth. Hey, stock all the way down. I mean, what, Travis Hunter? Travis Hunter managers have to just be screaming at this point because he has averaged 5.9 fantasy points and his utilization score sits at 41. This is awful. It's awful to start. And I don't think he should be anywhere near starting lineups going forward.
No way. It's just
Not
they're
even
not
close.
using him enough. I mean, it's crazy what they're doing. I think they're saying that it looks like I know Cohen said he's not behind on the playbook, but there were a couple plays on the field where he didn't look like he knew where to line up.
Hmm.
They're not going to say that, right,
No, no,
publicly,
no.
but it does seem like he's trying to learn at this point, and the offense is struggling. Trevor Lawrence is struggling, so it doesn't help. So yeah, he's just not involved in the offense enough. So and also maybe the combination of playing on both sides is a problem, right? Because you can't
Hmm.
focus on one. Maybe they should have handled this differently, but either way, you can't use him right now on offense.
No, it's bad, but I wouldn't, I'm going to hold him cuz things can change very quickly, but we'd have to see it. And I know it's frustrating to a lot of people, but just hold on, let's see what he does there. But again, that was a stock watch, going hard or going home here, presented by Mike's Hard Lemonade, because playing it safe is how you end up watching the playoffs from the couch. We're going to continue on, Adam. I've seen a ton of questions: buy low, sell high. What should I do with some of these players? I think it's a really important week to break these guys down. So we have a lot of names that we're going to go through and some of your questions that I see as well. So we're going to break those guys down coming up here next. Introducing the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. One internet price, 5 years, totally guaranteed. Life is unpredictable, guys, but the price of your internet shouldn't be. Get a reliable price for a reliable connection. And by all in, we mean all in. Get Wi-Fi equipment and unlimited data included in this. Change is always happening. RB1s seemingly never repeat. 2030's fantasy wide receiver 1 might not even be in college yet, but no matter what changes in 5 years, the price of your internet will stay the same. So make sure you go and learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. As always, we appreciate everyone hanging out with us here. Got the best listeners. I'm a little bit biased, but I stand by that. Make sure you go to fantasylife.com, subscribe to that newsletter, check out all of the tools that we have for you to continue dominating those leagues. This is the time too, Adam, where you're looking at teams right now. You might be 3-0, you might be, 0-3. Win 1-2, whatever it may be. But this is an interesting week to start looking at some potential trades, whether it's buy low, sell high, whatever you're looking at. I've got some names that I kind of want to go through, and I'll do a more rapid fire because I'm kind of curious of where you're at with some of these players. But I see some questions here as well from people listening to us, so I'll make sure to add those in for these names as well. I want to go through maybe some potential buy low candidates, or if you believe that you should be buying them, because we might I don't know, we might disagree on some of these. Like Brian Thomas Jr., we continue to be told buy low, buy low. It can't continue to be this bad. But I don't know, Adam. Maybe it can continue to be this bad because Brian Thomas Jr. is giving us his lowest route participation rate of the season, 82% over there in week 3. And I don't know. I don't know if it's a Shane Waldron thing like we've talked about before. The catchable target rate ranks the ninth lowest in the NFL. I think he downgrades mid-range wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 2, but would you be buying low on him with what we've seen from this offense?
I think it should get better, but yeah, what we've seen so far has been brutal. But again, a lot of times that it feels uncomfortable to trade for players, that's probably the time that you do it, right? Because you get them at a low point. Right now, there's not anyone who feels good about Brian Thomas. There's no way. Um, he's dropping too many passes, though, right now. He
Yeah.
did say he had a wrist injury. I wonder if that's a factor. I don't know. But yeah, 28% catch rate is brutal. So some of it, again, is on Trevor Lawrence. Some of it's on him. He just looks like he's not confident in attacking the football right now.
Hmm.
Um, so I probably might buy low. Again, it all depends what you have to give up. Also, it depends what you're getting back, right? Like, say for
Yeah.
example, like maybe like a Brian Thomas for Ashton Genty trade. I would make that. Like, I think Genty has looked good. The problem is the offense, and they're not using him enough in the passing game. But like that might be a deal that gets done. So it all really depends on what you're getting from. The problem is I don't think anyone's giving up anything big for Brian Thomas right now. So like,
No,
what
I
do you?
don't know.
That's
Should they?
that's what are you getting back for him realistically? And
Yeah.
that's really the story of whether you should trade him or not. Because it's easy to say, yeah, go buy low, go sell high. Okay,
Hmm.
what is the trade going to be? Because everyone is down on Brian Thomas right now. Even if you drafted Brian Thomas early, you're not feeling good right now. So
Hmm.
even the most optimistic person who likes Brian Thomas, they're not feeling confident right now. I mean, that drop that he had near the goal line
Yeah,
against the Bengals. I mean,
it was
that was
bad.
awful.
I mean, he looked like he
He
was
turned
avoiding
his, you could see
contact.
though, he turned
Yes.
his head away, which means he was bracing for contact and he was
Hmm.
afraid to get hit. You can't have that from a wide receiver.
Okay, so you mentioned Ashton Genty. I see a tweet here from Richard, and again, at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis, if you guys have questions. He said, I have an opportunity to trade Genty for Judkins, Quinshon Judkins, and Metcalf. I'm pretty solid at wideout. What are your long-term thoughts on Genty and Judkins? So you're saying you would be selling Ashton Genty right now?
No, I
Like
would be buying him.
you'd be buying? Okay.
Yeah.
For Judkins, do you like, I mean, long term, like we are expecting Ashton Genty to be okay. We've talked about this for a few weeks now. It just hasn't gone the way that I think we or anyone expected in the first couple of weeks. But Ashton Genty, he's going to get his. Would you do that? You wouldn't do that trade then
No,
for Quinshon Judkins and DK Metcalf?
no.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate you reaching out there, Richard. We've got more that I'll go through. All right. Buy low, Chris Olave. What do you think about that? Is Chris Olave someone? I mean, the Saints offense, they've struggled and they're going to continue struggling, but he's got the volume, and that's what we always talk about when we're talking about receivers. Olave has a good target share, honestly, an impressive target share. And you could look to him now, and again, it hasn't been amazing. It hasn't. You'll look at some of his outputs, you'll say, okay, but what do you think about buying him low right now?
I'm fine with it. Again, 13, 10, and 14 targets. Now, look, with all those targets, he has not hit 60 yards in a
I
game, which
know.
is insane. 7 for 54, 6 for 54, 10 for 57. It works in PPR. You would like definitely more yards and some touchdowns, but I think you're going to see the Saints playing from behind pretty much every single week. They were competitive the first 2 weeks. Obviously, this past week, they got blown out. This week at Buffalo, 16.5 point dogs. Yeah, they'll be playing from behind and passing a lot again. Then they got the Giants, Patriots, and Bears. So maybe those games are a little bit more competitive. I don't know. Is he? I don't know. Can you buy low on him? Like he's been
I
pretty solid.
I think you if someone's just looking at maybe the box scores, you could buy
Yeah,
low.
the
If they're
yards,
not if
touch.
they're not paying attention, then maybe, but yeah, I'm curious what people would get back from that. Again, the offense is always you could get a league mate that just knows that this offense will probably always struggle the rest of the way, but if you're really looking deep, I mean, he's been a target magnet and that's what we care about here. So, yeah, I think you have potential if you have a league mate that's maybe not as in on Olave that you could potentially buy low. I see another question come in here from Zay. Is George Pickens a hold or sell to you right now?
I am not sure what you can get for him. He's probably a hold again while Lamb is out. I do think on one hand it could lead to more attention for Pickens from the better corners,
Mhm.
but also he's going to get a lot of targets. Again, this offense will be playing from behind more than likely because the defense is so bad. So, you'll probably get he's at the exact same stat line the last 2 weeks, which is
It's been
hard to
crazy.
do. 9
Yeah.
targets in both games, 5 for 68 and a touchdown. That's probably what you're looking at. And maybe there's some games where he gets 7, 8 catches, gets to 100 yards. The disappointment has been the lack of deep plays. Like his longest
Yeah.
reception is 27 yards. He's averaging 12.8 yards per reception. That should be better. Like that was the missing element in the offense is a deep threat, a vertical threat, and you figured Pickens would bring that, and that's what we saw him do in Pittsburgh. We haven't seen it yet in Dallas. Last year he averaged 15.3 yards per reception, and he had a lot of 30, 40-yard receptions. We haven't seen it yet in Dallas.
All right, last one I want to go through, and we'll continue to go through more names. But what about a sell high for Garrett Wilson? Or do you want to hang on to Garrett Wilson? This one's kind of interesting because he's got a great utilization score, sitting at 87, is tied for the second highest target share in the NFL, 41%. By the way, we knew it was going to be like this. There's always going to be ups and downs with this offense. We don't know still, and again, make sure you pay attention to Justin Fields. If you had him and you were picking up a quarterback last week, hold on to that quarterback just in case he's not able to go. They ruled him out very early last week with that concussion, so you always just want to be more cautious when that happens. But what are your expectations? Do you think he could be a sell high right now?
He can be now. I do think he can be good the rest of the year, but we've seen now a few instances throughout his career where the volume of targets is always high. The problem is he just gets limited in this offense. And, I said before the year, the key for Garrett Wilson is going to be how many touchdowns does he score? I think the Vegas total before the year was 4.5. He already has 2. He had 7 last year, which was a career high. And that was able to put him, in the top 20 receivers, top 24 receivers. The other 2 years, he had massive volume, had over 1,000 yards, between 80 and 95 catches, but just 4 and 3 touchdowns. So that's going to be the key. If you believe that Wilson can get 6, 7, 8 touchdowns, then he's going to have a really good fantasy year. If he can't, then you'll be disappointed. So I do think it is worth exploring selling high on him. But it's clear there's no one else in this offense that commands the football. He has 30 targets through 3 games. So that is a great pace.
Crazy.
You're looking at like 170 if he plays the whole year.
Jeez.
But he had 168 in 2023 and did not finish as a top receiver.
Yeah, could be a good sell high candidate. So those are some of the names I'm thinking of. If you guys have more, just send them in and we'll try and get to them here. Want to continue on through just some of the questions that we have at the running back position. What is Chase Brown going to look like the rest of the way? What does the backfield for the Commanders look like now that Austin Eckler is out for the season? We're going to break those down here coming up next. Fantasy Life right here on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Hopefully everyone's having a great start to their Wednesday. I can't tell people to leave work yet, Adam. It's
Why
the middle
not?
of the week. I don't know. Doesn't feel right.
Be bold.
Gotta wait till lunchtime on a Friday to leave and not come back. Huge day today for the Mariners, for me. You gonna be watching them? Yeah, you are.
I think it's a bigger day for the Mets, but the Mets are actually fighting to get in the postseason. Seattle's in good shape.
Yeah,
Seattle pretty much.
I'd love the bye.
Seattle pretty much has wrapped up the division. The Houston Astros are falling apart. So,
oh no,
you guys are playing the Rockies. Like you cannot blow this.
Well, I don't know. They were losing at one point yesterday, and I was getting really upset.
I mean, the collapse by the Tigers just stunning. They were up 12 and a half games on August 25th. They are now tied for first and actually not in first because they don't have a tiebreaker.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that is just an epic collapse. Almost worse than Brian Thomas.
Oh, you had to go there.
I had to segue into football before we get in trouble.
There we go. All right, going into epic collapse of. No, it's not an epic collapse of the Washington Commanders backfield, but I don't think we had many questions answered, Adam, to be totally honest. I remember I messaged Dwayne because I always, when I'm writing that waiver wire report, I always want to make sure if what I saw was what someone else saw. And going through the utilization, I said, hey, did you see anything? Is there anything here with Chris Rodriguez, Jeremy McNichols? Like, what do you see? And I remember his exact response was, no, it's a mess, and it might just continue to be a mess. And that is not something that we love to see, but I mean, many expect expected a larger role out of Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, and I do think that can come. But Rodriguez took Eckler's role as that early down back. He got the start for the game, and then he was the primary backup over the rest of the game as well. So people might look at McNichols and say, well, he scored and that looks better, but I liked the utilization from Chris Rodriguez a bit more. I went and added him in a couple of leagues just in case, but it's not what you wanted to see. McNichols, I still do think that he's obviously going to, or no, I'm sorry, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt I think is obviously still going to have big games ahead, but yeah, the whole thing was a mess.
Yeah, the score was a little lopsided. That played into it. Yeah, McNichols came. How he scored on that touchdown, I don't know. He should have been tackled multiple
Right?
times by the line of scrimmage and broke free. So you give credit to him. But yeah, it's a mess right now. You don't feel comfortable starting any of those backs. If you did start one, it's probably Krosky Merritt. And then, Rodriguez a little further down. I think he did play the first two drives of the game. I think he
Yes.
had most of the plays. And that's kind of what they did too when Eckler was there and bring Krosky Merritt in on the third drive. So yeah, we didn't get any clear answers because the snaps were, I think it was 39% for both Merritt and Rodriguez, and then McNichols was around 26%. So yeah, we really didn't get any answers here, or it just made a muddled backfield where you don't feel confident starting any
Mhm.
right now.
Yeah, it's just
But
messier.
bye weeks are coming up. You're probably going to have to start
Yeah.
a couple of these guys.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's gonna get brutal. Josh Jacobs for the Packers. I still think he remains a buy low candidate. I didn't mention him in the last segment, but it was rough against the Browns. He had a season high 36% target share, though. I think if someone in your league is a little bit low on him, now's the time to scoop him up after that game over the weekend.
Yeah, and not very efficient, but massive workload.
Yeah, that's what you like here. All right. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us here today. Go Mariners. Make sure you go to fantasylife.com, sign up for that newsletter. We're going to be back same time tomorrow. Have a great day.